Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today, very happy to be joined by first-time pro Batman. Batman, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, Ash?
Not a lot, dude. Not a lot. How you doing in the game right now? It's good to finally get you on the channel.
Yeah, I'm happy to be on the channel, and I found this one giant graveyard deck that I've had success with, and it's working really well.
Yeah, we're gonna take a look at the deck right now. Just pull up on the screen, and it's interesting. We're gonna share a couple variations of it. One with Night Witch, but before we do, I know not everybody has Night Witch unlocked. It seems like Night Witch has a great home in pretty much every single meta deck. What do you think of the card? Is she OP? Is she, does she need a nerf, or are you happy having a strong card enter the
I
game?
feel like it's a very good card depending on like what your opponent has. Say if your opponent doesn't have anything good to counter her, then it's definitely very strong. But if your opponent has say Executioner Tornado, it's just a dead card because they'll just use that, and it's just useless against those types of decks.
Yeah, are you one of those pros that really prefers a diverse meta, or do you like it when it's just a few main decks?
I feel like I prefer a diverse meta.
Oh, it's cool to hear that because I do too. But it seems like most pros, at least on social media and stuff, it seems like they're always ranting about it being too diverse. But I can kind of see both sides, of course.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, being a non-pro, it's just fun to have a lot of decks. But anyway, let's rewind a little bit here. Tell us a little bit about yourself. When did you start playing Clash Royale, and when did you kind of figure out you were a good player? I know you've been around a while. Tell us about how
Yeah.
you got into the game.
So I used to play Clash of Clans, and once the global launch released, that's when I started playing Clash Royale as well, because a couple of my Clash of Clans friends got into the game,
Okay.
and I just started playing casually, and then I started to get into brackets and tournaments and stuff like that. And when I like won one of them, I thought like I was kind of good at the game, and I just started playing competitively.
Where have you tell us a little bit about your own journey along the meta, the road of the meta? Like, have you been the type of player who prefers one type of deck and then you stick with it until it's kind of not viable anymore in the meta, or do you switch it up? Do you consider yourself like a jack of all trades? Like, tell us about where you started and where you see yourself now.
So I started off playing like Giant Balloon because I don't know, like it just worked for me back then. And then I progressed into playing like Royal Giant, Sparky, and because I didn't have like the legendary cards that were
Yeah.
being used, and that was in like the 15K metas where everyone used like Miner and Miner Poison.
Yep.
And then right now, I feel like last season I was using Boulder Graveyard the entire season, and in the last like say 5 hours, I switched to Golem, and I had really good success with it, and finished 13th and 17th on both my accounts.
Yeah, congrats, man. I was just looking at that. I'll show your accounts off after this replay, but man, was that the highest you've ever finished at the end of the season?
Yeah, that was my
Congrats.
best season by far. Thank you.
Yeah. Tell us about how you initially got involved with Nova, because to me, like, your name is kind of synonymous with Nova at this point. You've been with them quite a while. How did you get involved with them, and what was the process like? Did you try out or something, or?
So I started pushing a max account for someone, and I did pretty well. I finished like 40th, and then I was noticed by Nova, and I was offered a contract, and I signed with Nova.
Nice.
And then slowly, I'm now on the Nova Pro team as well.
Nice. And do you enjoy that?
Yeah, of course. I
Awesome.
love the management, and I love the players that are on the team.
Awesome. Tell us before we're gonna hop into this deck, I promise, guys. But just curious to get a little background info on Batman here. Tell us a little bit about what the process is like practicing and stuff with the Nova Pro team. Like, do you guys get together and do like scrimmages against each other, or is it more kind of
Yeah,
casual?
right. Like a couple minutes ago, we were just talking about practice. We usually practice 2 to 3 times a week
Oh, okay.
for about 2 hours. With like we just do friendly battles, test out decks, etc.
See, that's so good because I feel like in a way, I feel like the rich keep getting richer because you guys are always going against the best players in the game, and you're just getting better and better. And then that divide between you guys and the rest of us just increases. Is there any recommendation to how people out there who might not be in Nova or have access to really good players can improve their game? You know, I mean, one idea that I came up with, and actually it's not like my idea, it's very basic, but just like finding the best player you possibly can, whether it be in your clan or a friend or something, and going against them, you know, because you play against the best, you tend to get better. Any other recommendations on how people who, like I said, don't have access to the pros can get better?
Playing grand challenges and playing ladder, like just keep practicing like different decks, and if you get good with a certain deck, you'll have success with it, and you'll just eventually be really good at the deck. If you keep practicing.
So you recommend sticking with a deck for a while, especially if you're good at it, obviously?
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now on ladder, like I'm coming off a really big tilt, and I haven't figured out if it's because, of course, in my mind, I'm sure everybody's like this, but in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I only have max rares, no max epics or legendaries. So in my mind, I'm like, yeah, the reason I can't bust into the top 200 is because I don't have the epics and legendaries. But in reality, it's probably just my skill, right? But how much of a difference do you...
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So, I tilted earlier as well. I was usually using Bowler Graveyard Poison, but then I realized that everyone at the top was running 3 Musketeers. So I saw this one French player, Olaf, who's in second right now. He was using this giant deck with Fireball, and I was like, that looks interesting. And since most people are running 3 Musk and Minion Horde, I was like, this could actually work, and I just played it, and it worked.
Nice, nice. Okay, so let's tell us a little bit about this deck. So what are the... I watched all the replays before I brought you on, and one thing I noticed is that you, at least it seems to me, the untrained eye, it seems like you play this deck rather aggressively. Is that accurate?
Yeah, like, I feel like if... Like, in one of the replays, my opponent played Bowler, and I think I just went Giant Graveyard because that like, you need Bowler to defend the Giant. And I felt like if I just went Giant Graveyard, I could do a lot of damage.
Yeah, okay, so like run us through the deck, a general review of it. Is it, first of all, if people don't have eWiz, is there a decent sub for eWiz that you'd recommend?
You can use Musketeer. That's always a good sub for it.
Okay, and is this, would you say it's viable on both ladder and challenges? Obviously, it's dependent on a legendary win condition, so, you know, if you have your graveyard kind of at level.
Yeah, definitely. Because the Grand Challenge meta and the ladder meta is kind of the same right now. It's just 3 Musk everywhere. So I feel like this deck could work really well.
Okay, cool. So how about the very start of the match? What's going through your head at the start of a match? And are you trying to feel out your opponent, waiting for them to make the first move? Or do you sometimes just aggressively drop a giant or something in the back?
Usually I try to wait, and then if they play something, I would try to play like my best counter to it. But if they don't, I usually just play giant in the back and see what they play to defend it. And
okay, cool. Do you want to hop into a replay and do kind of a play-by-play?
Yeah, sure. Which one?
All right, let's go to Lord Criminal because I've already showed the first 2. I'm going to pause it at the beginning and just let me know when you're there.
All right, I'm at 3 minutes. Paused.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, play. Right. So, yeah, just kind of run us through your thought process throughout this match. I think it's kind of a better way to introduce folks at home to the decks that we cover.
All right, so right here, I have a giant, so I'm just waiting for him to make the play, and I play giant since he didn't do anything. And
so you don't, obviously you don't mind starting out with giant.
Yeah. Giant at the start isn't a bad play.
Okay. So now that you see the golem coming down the same lane, where's your mind at?
So right here, I know he has eWiz, Lumberjack, Mega Minion, and Baby Dragon in his deck because that's what golems run. And right here, he played Skeleton, so I logged those. And that Baby Dragon did pretty well, but his golem is dead because I played Skeletons on his golem, and he decided to log the graveyard instead of those Skeletons.
Okay, can we pause?
He gets a really good. Yeah, we can pause.
I'm gonna pause around right around 2 minutes, because I just want to play that back because I think that's like really, that exchange was it really illustrates what happens in the game so many times, where you're playing a beatdown deck into another beatdown deck and you're in the same lane for whatever reason. And sometimes I think that people out there, not me of course, but some people out there, they're not sure what to do. Like if you have the lighter tank going into a heavier tank, what is your mindset at? Are you going, I mean, we saw what you just did. You dropped the graveyard and you put the Mega Minion behind. Is there any like words of advice that can apply to every deck, how you handle those situations?
You usually want to play like your hard-hitting troop on their tank. So if I played Ewiz, that wouldn't have killed the Golem that quickly, and the Mega Minion is just really good at destroying tanks since it does more damage than the Ewiz. And then the skeletons, because he had to pick which one to log. He either chose he had to log the graveyard or the skeletons, and he chose to log the graveyard, which meant his Golem was dead.
Okay, wow. So that, you know, like you don't really, you see all the cards that you drop, but sometimes you don't think about the thought process that goes into every decision. So basically, you were trying to, as a graveyard player, you're trying to like essentially bait the log with the skeletons.
Yeah, because usually you need to defend with a troop and a log, whereas like you need to defend the graveyard with those two combinations. And I feel like the player's either going to use it on offense or they have to save it for the graveyard. If they use it on offense, you can get a lot of damage with the graveyard.
Okay, so I'm going to press play again. 3, 2, 1, play. And just a quick follow-up question. So are you thinking about, like from the very start of the game, are you thinking about baiting out the graveyard counters before you drop the graveyard, or are you okay with just going right in?
Since I have like arrows and fireball, I can go in, but it's usually a safer play to just wait.
Okay.
So right here, you played a Golem, so I went all in on the other lane.
And is that something you normally, okay, is that something you'd normally do?
Yeah, because when they play a Golem, they just can't defend that giant graveyard push. There's no way.
Let's say hypothetically he dropped like minions or something, even though he doesn't have minions. Would you have also been okay with like throwing down an arrow there and really overextending yourself? Okay. So as long as you can take that tower, you're happy with it. And then just do your best to defend on the other end.
Right here, I defended the Golem pretty well.
So now let's talk about being in the one tower advantage situation. How often are you putting your giant in the pocket, just doing a giant graveyard combo, and how often are you doing what you're doing right now?
So right here, I saw he played an Ewiz, so his King Tower was pretty low, so I went for the King Tower. But looking back on it, I don't think that was a smart play because I could have gotten way more damage on his Crown Tower.
Okay.
Right here,
yeah, go ahead, sir.
This was pretty tough to defend because I don't have Tornado or defense, so I just have to defend with troops right here.
Yeah, this is tricky. And that was a good fireball though, keeping that Ewiz alive and taking down the baby dragon.
So right here, he's overextending a lot, and I see that, so I'm just saving for a giant graveyard push.
Nice.
And by the way, the finish to this game is just crazy.
Yeah, because you don't take it, because he's able to counter you here, I believe, right? Or protect the tower, yeah. So now this is another monster push.
So right here, I knew he was going to play Golem, and that he used all his tanks. So I knew I could play Ewiz in the pocket and it could do damage.
Wow.
And then I just fireball log for the win.
Wow, that was so epic at the end there. I thought for sure when you didn't take, well, I knew you won, obviously, but I thought for sure when you didn't take that tower, you're going to be in trouble there on that graveyard.
Yeah, it's just like
push.
that quick second thought process that you need to make. Like, some people wouldn't have thought of playing, they would have just tried to defend. But I know since I don't have a defense or like a really good defensive card like a Tornado, I had to just go for the tower.
Yeah, it seems like you're really good at making those really quick split-second decisions and not being afraid to commit when you have to. Is there something that, did you just learn that over repetition and time? Or are there any, in your placement, I notice is really good, just like most of the pros that I have on the channel, like both your commitment and your decision-making being really fast, as well as your placement on every single troop. Is there any tips that you have to getting better at that? Or is it just, again, repetition?
it's just like practicing. Like you need to know if your opponent is overextending. You need to like you can't really know the exact elixir of your opponent, but you can kind of like have an idea. Because when he played that tornado, I knew he was overextending.
Yeah.
Because he played an Ewis and the tornado.
Do you have any tips of getting better of like not essentially like you said, it's not like you're counting every elixir per se, but you do just have a general sense. Is that again just repetition, especially with a certain deck?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, want to go into the Night Witch example?
Yeah.
All right.
So before I shared a replay with Knight, and then the two replays had Knight, and one of them had 3 spells. I feel like the 3 spells just ends up with really bad cycles, so I just put in Knight to avoid that.
Okay. I guess while you're mentioning substitutions and stuff like that, are you the type of player who, you know, when you're not inventing your own deck, do you take a deck that you see, like you said, with a giant deck, for example, do you take a deck and then kind of tweak it to your choosing, to your liking, or do you just use what someone else has had success with?
So I sometimes tweak it. Like for example, I put in the Night Witch for log because I feel like it's just better. It's just a really good card right now. It's really good at killing tanks, and it's really good at defending graveyards as well. So I just put that in there for the log.
At 5,000 trophies plus, what level would you recommend your legendary cards be, like the Night Witch, for example, to actually use in ladder?
Night Witch, I feel like it's good at like level 2. It's a really good card, so it doesn't really the level when it doesn't really matter.
Okay, cool.
I feel like.
All right. I just got mine to level 2 today, so maybe I'll start using her. We'll see. Okay, let's go ahead and press play in 3, 2, 1, now. So start off by telling us what the differences, other than the cards, are, like as far as the gameplay goes in the Night Witch deck.
So with this, you can like be more aggressive, and you just have more cards to counter. So you can be more aggressive. I feel like. So right here, he played a Mega Minion, and if I had a log, I would have had to play an Ewiz, but I play my Night Witch in the middle, so one bat goes to the Mega Minion and it kills it.
Oh, perfect.
And then the Night Witch goes for the. Right here, I knew his deck, and I knew he had nothing for this graveyard right here. Except
it's
for
so crazy. So crazy how fast you pick up on the decks that someone's using, like every card.
Yeah, at the top, that's how it is, like on top of ladder. Right here,
so,
I knew he was down elixir, and I went aggressive. So I feel like if you're playing a mirror matchup, you can play giant at the bridge, and it can catch your opponent by surprise, and you can do a lot of damage.
Okay, would that be the exception to the rule? Are you normally are the only 2 times you're normally playing the giant at the bridge? Especially in single elixir, is when they drop a heavy tank, or when you're playing a mirror matchup and you have that advantage.
Yeah, and if they like use their, if you know their deck and they use their best graveyard counter.
Okay.
Right here, this was just all about defending. I knew I was up. I didn't need to do anything and just needed to defend here.
So will you start off, let's say your opening hand is like Graveyard Giant, Night Witch, Ewiz. Where are you starting? Are you most comfortable starting a Night Witch in the back? Or a Giant?
If that's my starting hand, I'll wait for the opponent, and if they don't make a play, then yeah, I'll start, I'll actually start a Giant off in the back.
Okay. I noticed you use the Night Witch there to tank. That's something that people are doing more often now. You know, she can hold her own against defensive targeting units, and even like a Knight.
It's like a better Knight, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it does way more damage, so it can kill tanks.
How do you deal with a Night Witch on the opponent's side?
On the opponent's side, I haven't faced one, but I feel like you can fire, since it's ladder and they don't have it leveled up, you can just fireball it, and that'll take care of it.
Okay. What do you think some common mistakes of people using either these decks or just graveyard in general? Because I feel like I'm a sucky graveyard player, so...
You just need to know when to play conservatively and when to just go aggressively. That's what I feel like.
Okay.
Some
And
some
and how do
people
you
they
know?
just like you if they have if it's like early on in the match. Okay, I'll give you an example. If I'm going up against for example Hawk Executioner Tornado deck, and I'm
Hmm.
playing Bowler Graveyard. If they play their Executioner in the back, I know they have nothing to counter like air troops, so I would go Baby Dragon, and Graveyard on the other lane.
Okay. Yeah.
And if it's early on in the match, I would just play like Knight or Skeletons in the back and play conservatively.
Okay. So play conservatively early on, and then just it sounds like you have a really keen awareness of what your opponent has and what they're trying to do,
Yeah.
and then you're reacting. Do you want to hop
hmm
into a live match? You can either do ladder or challenge. It doesn't matter to me.
I can try to find a ladder match.
Sweet. Are we going to be watching for Batman or for No Name?
Nova Batman.
Okay.
Also, I want to shout out AY for gemming Nova Batman.
Oh,
He,
nice.
he upgraded the Night Witch on the very first day to level 4.
Sweet. That's awesome. I wonder how much that ran him. I saw that Bren maxed his Night Witch like immediately, and I'm always like, oh my god, that's crazy. But yeah, I'm happy with level 2, but level 4 is pretty epic, man. Congrats.
Thank you.
AY
Are
is
you going to
God.
be at the CCGS event?
I may be. I may be. Are you?
Yeah, I qualified from North America. Oh, I'm playing someone from Elite Gaming.
Oh no, who is it? It's
Rational Man.
Rational Man. I would tell you what he's running, but we don't want to cheat.
I already know what he's running.
Oh, okay. What is he running?
Lava Loon Inferno Dragon.
Jeez, you're so good, man. You're right. So how do you walk into knowing you're going against a lava? It's a Lava Loon Inferno Dragon deck. So what is your thought process here?
So I think he has minions in his deck, but I have arrows, so I should be good.
All right.
That was a good fireball.
Yeah, so I'll definitely see you then. That's pretty cool. Congrats on qualifying.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. All right.
So he's gonna play minions here. Oh wow, look at that Night Witch go.
Yeah, it's crazy. Man, poor Rational Man's gonna kill me if he loses.
Alright, so I think I kind of overcommitted there, but
What do you think your best air defense in this deck is? Just a combination of Ewiz and Night Witch?
yeah, and Mega Minion is really good at killing tanks like Lava Hound.
So when he's coming with the big, you know a big Lava Loon push is coming. So you're prepping with a Night Witch first, and then what's the game plan going to be?
So right here, I'm gonna tank, and then
Okay.
I don't get enough. Oh, I didn't get enough.
All right, so pretty much even. Do you feel like this deck excels in double elixir time? And if so,
Yeah,
what differences are you making? Just a little bit more aggressive?
yeah. So right here, I'm gonna go Graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna have to play minions. I have arrows,
Oh,
and then play.
boom.
Wow, that Night
There
Witch
it is.
does so much damage.
Oh my god, that was so... She's so crazy, huh?
Yep.
You're like, yep.
So he's gonna have to go balloon here.
Mm-hmm.
I think I missed the fireball.
No, you got it.
Alright.
There you go. Well, you took down Rational Man. Oh,
Oh wait, he has that. Oh,
I was gonna say, I hope I didn't speak too soon there, but just barely. Good job, man.
thank you.
So let's see where you're ranked right now. You've got to be really high. Jeez, you're 11th in the world right now, dude.
Yep.
Are you gonna be
11th
pushing?
and 17th.
Are you going to be trying to push for top 10? Do you set goals for yourself, or you just kind of go with the flow?
Yeah, last season, since I like never finished top 20, I just played it safe. But this season, I'm gonna go for top 10 or top 5.
Awesome, man. Well, we'll be keeping an eye on you. Just wanted to thank you again for coming on the channel. I really enjoyed the conversation. Do you have any
Thank you.
shout outs, any social media or anything that you want to plug?
Just want to say thank you for having me, and I want to shout out CMC, George, Trainer Dippets, Ace, Esley. I'm always in calls with them. They're always helping me out, and they're great friends to have.
All great players, man. So we'll
Yep.
include your social media as well. And would you mind if people reached out for advice on the deck if they have any questions?
Yeah, of course. I'm always open to help.
Sweet, man. Well, thanks again for coming on, and appreciate it. We'll have you back soon, hopefully.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Really enjoyed that conversation. Good luck with the decks. If you try them, hopefully you can be just a little bit as good as Batman was with them. Huge shout out to my YouTube partner, Bren Chong. You can check out his information in the description below. And as always, take care, guys.